when you looked at the spaceship, you could see red lights literally orbiting.
Blue.
And blue.
Mm-hmm. You could see blinking. You could see
there were
beams.
ships
shooting
glowing,
out.
traveling across
There
the
were,
sky.
yes.
Not like a shooting star. It was like
It was not a shooting star, and it
formations.
was not a human created craft.
Like,
scary.
oh my god, this is fucking real. Like, you can't deny it when you just see it and you're like, fuck. Like, we saw Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, but I didn't know it'd be that easy for us to connect with them.
Hey guys, it's Annie. I am wearing an extra cozy and comfy sweater because I need extra comfort as I share this video today. I'm not even as afraid as I used to be, but I was terrified to share this for the longest time because this incident happened in the summer. And I haven't even said what the incident is, but I'm sure you can tell by the title. It happened in the summer. And some of my friends were like down to already share about it, and they were very open. Like my friend Carissa, she has a full podcast episode on this that she created like right after we had this experience. But I was so terrified to share this because I, didn't want my family to freak out and think I'm weird. I didn't want you guys to think I'm weird and crazy, whatever. But I've opened up about things recently. Even in my vision board video I just posted, I shared a lot of secrets around spirituality, alien stuff, and you guys loved it and were so supportive, and like everyone was like, we need your UFO story. So that is what we're doing today. Yes. Click the like button if you enjoy this topic or find it interesting, just more so than anything to show me support, because this is a little uncomfortable for me to share. Let's rewind. It started earlier in 2020. My friends and I, Alyssa, Carissa, Evelyn, Alon, and myself came together and we just had these kind of spiritual awakenings, you could say, and got interested in not only spirituality, but looking into life off of this planet in all ways. And it led us to watching this documentary called Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. Contact Has Begun. It's currently right now free on Amazon Prime to watch. Back when we watched it, you had to pay to rent it or buy it. So if you have Amazon Prime, highly recommend checking it out. If you don't have Amazon Prime, I'm sure there's somewhere you can find to watch it online or rent it somewhere. The main guy in the documentary, he used to work for the government. There are so many pieces of documentation, government conferences talking about UFOs and ETs, and he just shares so much insight. And they actually also show you and give you resources so that you can have contact yourself. And we watched this and we're like, we need to do this. So we went out to Joshua Tree, and if you're not familiar with Joshua Tree, it is known for its ET UFO activity. Like there's just like this magnetic frequency that is purely of Joshua Tree. There's something about that area that makes it just a really clear place to connect. So we went out there and it was freaking mind-blowing. Maybe I should have said this earlier on in the video, but for those of you who are like, what are you talking about? Aliens? No way. There's no way there's aliens. I want to like pause you right there, because although I grew up in a family who does not believe in that sort of thing, they're very Christian, of the Bible. If it's not in the Bible, it doesn't exist. So I never believed that. I actually was always thinking like, how could there not be other life outside of this planet? How could there not be? When you think about it, we're a teeny tiny speck of dust, if not even smaller than a speck of dust, compared to the existence of everything out there. Why would we think that we are the only intelligent life forms in all of existence? I was like, of course there are other life forms out there. I didn't know what that looked like. I thought, well, they could be just like us or different, but just in the way where they're living their life oblivious of everything else outside of their world. But I've come to learn that there are very intelligent life forms out there, and a lot of them do know about us, and most of them are not bad. They don't have ill intention. They actually are very intelligent. They know the balance of the universe and how things flow and the energy, and they actually want to help us, because if we crumble, that has a ripple effect outward to everything. Everything affects everything. So, with that being said, again, if you're just like, I don't know about aliens, go back to the fact of like, look up at the sky at night and see how ever expansive it is, how never ending it is, and think, maybe could there be life outside of this planet? Okay, so we go to Joshua Tree. The first night we weren't even planning to have any contact. So in the documentary Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, they mention this app, this protocol. I think it's called C5 something. I don't know off the top of my head. I'll put a screenshot on the screen. But they mentioned that in the documentary, so we downloaded it. And we weren't going to have the contact until the second night. But it just so happens that the first night, I'm inside with Alon, and everyone else is out back. They open the door to Alon and myself, and they're like, you guys come out here, look at the sky. And we look up, and things are just moving. There's just lights all over the place. There was this one light that looked like a really bright star that Carissa pointed out to us as we got outside, and she was like, watch this. First of all, Carissa's very intuitive. She's a medium, but she's also she has a master's in psychology. She's a counselor, a therapist, a coach. Like, she's got it together. She's a very intelligent, intuitive woman. But she points out this light that looks like this huge bright star in the sky. And she starts communicating with it, like telling it to move down. And as she would say move down, it would move down. And she would say, like, if you're of love and light, because we're very intentional as we were doing this. We only want to communicate with anything that is high vibrational. We set that boundary. She said, like, I will only communicate with you if you are of love and light. But yeah, so she's like, if you're of love and light, like, move this way, and the light would move that way. We believe that to be a ship that was way out there. As you'll learn in the documentary, they communicate telepathically. We were doing this all night, and then we would do it too, like the other girls, and it would do the same thing for us. That was like one of the main events of the night. But also just throughout the sky, there would be lights of different colors. Like, there was a green one, and I think there was also a blue one. Later in the night, Alon and I were like, we want more. We want to keep experiencing this, after everyone went inside, because we're like, how often do we have this chance? So Alon and I were just like out there for so long, looking at this phenomenon in the sky. And there were even some lights that came down closer. Towards the end of the night, there was this bright light and whooshing, like deep whooshing sound that crossed the hilltop. Like, there was no roads up there. It was just like super fast, like whoo. And like, it's just me saying that and making a sound effect does not do justice, but I can like see the memory in my head, and it was freaking wild. So yes, that first night was really amazing. So the second day, another awesome, crazy thing happened. Carissa and I were outside, and we were just hanging out, the two of us, and we look off, and in the sky, there's this thing. I don't even know how to describe what it looked like, but this thing was floating in the sky. There were no clouds at all. No trees or anything to go behind, but this thing is gently and gracefully floating through the sky, and we're watching it, and we're like, what is that? Like, what is that? I have no idea. And all of a sudden, it starts fading out of sight, like pops out of this, I don't know, dimension. And we're like, where did it go? Like, it just literally disappeared. And then we keep watching, and it pops back. And it's like it was doing this a bunch of times. From our observation, it looked like it was coming in and out of this dimension. And I know that sounds wild, but that's the only way I can explain it. Just like pop out, nothing, pop back in, float a little bit, pop out. I don't even know how to explain that, but all I know is that if Carissa wasn't there with me, I probably would have just thought, I'm seeing things, I'm losing my mind. Like, what is that? Or I would have just brushed it off. I'm like, that's really weird. Like, literally my eyes must be doing something, but we saw the exact same thing happening at the same time. So that still isn't like the main insane part of the experience. The main insane part of the experience happened the last night. First of all, early on in the night, as we were walking back from dinner, there was one tiny little restaurant in the middle of this desert town. The area that we're in is full desert, just a few houses here and there, and like one restaurant that you have to walk down the road like half a mile to. And as we were getting back, we noticed in the yard, well, it was all dirt, but the yard of the Airbnb we were staying at, it was blinking. The guys mentioned that it looked like Morse code. It was in a very distinct pattern, and they looked up what that pattern meant, and what it was blinking, what that light was blinking, was SOS in Morse code. And Shane, Alon's fiance, was like, that's not very responsible for this house to be having their lights blink SOS. And I was like, I don't think it's from the owners of this house. And I'll get to that point in a little bit. Actually, I'll tell you now. My intuition was saying that that was the ETs trying to contact us, saying SOS, we need your help. And what that meant to me was SOS, we need your help. They want to make contact to the world, but the news and all of these other places are probably going to spin it like they're the bad guys. And it was like, SOS, we need your help. Let people know that we're here to help and counteract that message that it's a bad thing, because it's not. Anyway, this is the night that we decided we're going to use the protocol, the app that we found out about in the documentary. And it's very interesting. It takes you through all the steps, and it also mentions that if there's fear from anyone in the group, they're going to basically respect our boundaries and only show up in whatever way makes people comfortable, because they're not trying to scare us or hurt us. So it goes through that, like, make sure that you're in a group of people who are comfortable, your nerves are calm, and you have very clear intentions. You get to set boundaries. Like, you can say how you want it to happen. Like, we made it very clear that we did not want them up and close. We did not want to see a physical ET right in front of us. We want to maybe see a ship, and we want it 100 yards that way. We set a specific place, like 100 yards that way past the fence of the yard. Further back than that, like 100 feet away, would feel good, and that's our comfort zone. So we made that very, very clear. In this protocol, you play this tone, and it's a very interesting tone. Maybe I can get a clip of it. And they lead you through this meditation of relaxing your body, and then kind of visualizing yourself and getting connected, and visualizing yourself floating up from Earth and into the Milky Way and past the Milky Way and further out, trying to see if you can intuitively feel where there might be a ship. And when you feel where that's at, you kind of reverse that process, and in your visualization, inviting them in and showing them, like, here's what the Milky Way looks like. Here's Earth. Here's my country, your state, your town, your site or Airbnb that you're at, and also like painting the picture of how many people are there, what the situation looks like. And then you kind of do that over and over again just to get a very clear connection, because they communicate telepathically. So we did the whole meditation, and then we sat there calmly trying to hold that intention of contact. And all of a sudden, exactly where we told them we wanted them to be, 100 feet out in front of us, this light starts shining, and it starts glowing and getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It was freaking insane. And then there was all of a sudden a little fear in the group. Like, it got a little jumbled, and it was like, oh no, like, this is scary. I don't know if I want this. And as soon as that started happening, from my perspective, what I remember from this happening last summer is as soon as that fear kicked in, the light got smaller and disappeared. I was actually pretty excited. I don't think I felt fear, but even if you think I'm excited about this, but your body is still like fearful and clenching up, they're still reading that energy more so than what your mind's saying, because they read energy. Energy is everything. Energy is like language. So if you have fear in your body, it's going to make them go like, oh no, we don't want to scare them. That's not what this is about. We don't want to traumatize them. So they respected that, and the light faded, and then we calmed down for a second and we're like, we're safe, like made sure everyone felt safe, and we tried to, you know, re-envision that and invite them back in. And right as we were doing that, it was a very quick transition. Right as we were doing that, I personally started feeling goosebumps over my entire body, and like this energy, like almost, I don't even know, this energy through my entire body. And I heard this noise inside, like, you know how you get like the ringing and like buzzing in your ears? And then all of a sudden, the alarm system in the house started going off. Like as I'm feeling these goosebumps and this energy and this ringing, the fire, 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 fire alarm. It literally said fire in the alarm. And we're like, what the heck? From the beginning, I did not think it was a fire. The boys were like, oh my gosh, there's a fire. We gotta go, like, make sure it's put out. There was no fire. My intuition was saying their vibration and like their technology and all that they are was very overpowering for our electronics, and that set off the fire alarm, just those like vibrations and waves. And it's also interesting because after this experience happened, I forget if it was Evelyn's mentor or Chris's mentor, they're both like very intuitive spiritual mentors, said that it was exactly that. And they also said that that SOS was them saying, help us, like we need your help, they need our help. And those mentors didn't know that that's what my intuition was saying, or that's what the other girls' intuitions were saying. That's just what they naturally expressed to us. There's been so many other things since then, but that was the first big experience. I don't even know if I told the story as in depth as I could, because it's like you had to be there to experience it, but it was freaking wild. And then after that, to have these intuitive mentors without knowing the entire story validate all the things that happened, that was like icing on the cake. But yeah, ever since that experience, things have just gotten very interesting in life, and I wanted to share that story. And I also wanted to share the message that our experience and the communications were not bad. They weren't trying to take over. They want what's best for us. They want to help. They want people to awaken and open their eyes and realize that we're in this bubble and there's so much more, and we don't have to be in fear. And there are beings outside of our awareness who are rooting for us and are trying to do their best to help energetically shape what's going on the planet. And I know some people are gonna be like, this is freaking weird, this is crazy, I don't get it. And that's okay, you don't need to get it. But I know some people do get it, or some people are open to this. And I just advise you, like, watch that documentary. If you want more resources, I can definitely help guide you there. If you watch my videos with Elizabeth April, she's like a pro on all things ETs, aliens, spiritual awakening. Gaia is amazing. Gaia is like the spiritual Netflix. There's a ton of information there. And also on top of that, just keep an eye out. The government has been casually sprinkling in and releasing information about UFOs and all of that. But I don't know, if this is a new subject and you're interested in it, just know it was really like a whiplash of a thing to dive into when I first started learning about it and then experiencing it. But I actually feel more safe now. Like I have a greater understanding, and it also makes me realize how much our dramas here are minuscule. Yes, we need to sort them out, and yes, we need to heal, but There's so much more out there. Part of their thing is, it's like we're tearing each other apart. Like if we can't even accept and get along with each other, you're not going to accept anything outside of what's from here. We're gonna be fearful because we're already fearful of people who are different. People, human beings who are different than us. So once we can all start realizing we're in this together, we're all beings, literally we all come from the same place, no matter what country, race, religion, what planet you're from, everything comes from the same place. I don't know, it's just an interesting subject. I have so much more to say on this topic, but we're gonna start there. I actually wanted to film this video with my girls who I had this experience with, but we cannot all get together. Like Evelyn's in Canada, and next time though we're all together, I will 100% bring them in on a video and we'll talk about some interesting things because we have plenty of mind-blowing stories to share with you. So get excited for that. If you have any questions or just comments or interest in this, leave them down below. But with that being said, this was probably one of the most interesting videos that I've filmed, and they're gonna get more interesting from here on out. So I hope you're ready for this. I'm still gonna talk about personal development, manifestation, human things, but I'm unfiltering myself this year, so yay. All right, well, if you stuck around this long, you're the best. I love you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, guys.